Hi, Pisces. Welcome to your February 2016 General Tarotscope. It's Rena here. Happy birthday to you, Pisces fishes born in February. And I think this is going to be a month with a lot of romantic energy. And actually, this is kind of a long term energy that deals with romance, but also with your career. These are long term transits of Saturn and Jupiter. So, very nice. The sun starts the month in the 12th house, and this is your natural house. I call it the woo house. It's the house of the unconscious mind, past lives, karma, yada, yada. For most people, the 12th house can be difficult, but I think that you guys, because it is your house, can handle it a lot better because it is a very nebulous place. It can be kind of murky, it can be kind of undefined, and that tends to drive people crazy because most people like to classify things. And this is the kind of influence that when you have these planets transiting, you can just get these psychic hits, and all of a sudden you feel a certain way and you're like, why am I feeling like this? This is so bizarre. I've been getting that myself with my own transits. And it's like something reminds you of childhood, or you just have this weird feeling. It's just very hard to pin down, but it's present. And maybe your dreams are very intense. If you're an artist, having the sun here might be very good for you. The new moon is going to be in this house on the 8th of February, and there's going to be a Chinese New Year on this date as well. And so the new moon in the 12th house, well, that could be good for anybody that is trying to launch a meditation practice or set intentions for anything spiritual or even creative, especially if it's divinely inspired. And Venus is going to be entering here on the 6th. So when Venus goes into the 12th house, that can even have to do with past lives. Maybe you meet somebody that you knew in another lifetime. So yeah, there's just a lot of these triggers to the 12th house. And again, this can be very good for artists as well because Venus is the planet that deals with art as well as love. Mars in Scorpio all month is your ninth house. So, those of you who are into advertising and publishing, this may give you that extra motivation where you feel compelled to do things in this area. Some of you may be wanting to go into higher education and you will be pursuing that with, a lot of intensity. And some of you may already be working in the academic world, and maybe there will be a few clashes along the way because Mars can indicate areas where there's friction. So it can play out for you in many different ways. I think some of you will become almost like evangelists because it's a very aggressive energy and it's in the house of philosophy. So brush off those soapboxes. You're going to be doing a lot of that sort of proselytizing, maybe possibly. And like I was saying about Jupiter, Jupiter is in Virgo, and this is happening until September in your seventh house of long term relationships. So maybe some of you will get engaged or married. And I think that's pretty cool. And who knows, maybe for your birthday, if you have a birthday in February, you might want to do it that way. But it does bring you luck in the area of committed relationships. So that's great. And again, that's going on until September. Right now, because it's in retrograde motion, it's kind of reliving all this stuff and it's kind of reactivating it. Depending on what degree, you know, your sun is, that polarity gets triggered specifically. Saturn in Sagittarius, 10th house, career. That's where Saturn naturally resides. So it's a very fortunate place for it to be. And what's really cool is that not only is Saturn in its natural house, but with the career, it's very good for making things manifest instead of just in the realm of theory or fantasy. And so, for those of you who have really wanted to have a solid career, this might be the transit lasting until sometime in 2017 when you really can make a lot of advances in your career. Now, the full moon is going to be at 3 degrees of Virgo on the 22nd of February. So, this is what I was talking about as well in terms of romance. This could be some culmination in some relationship that you've been having where it's finally official and you're engaged, or you end up getting married during this time. Now, of course, if we want to be pessimistic, for some people, this might be the ending of a marriage or the ending of a long term relationship. I prefer to see the glass half full, but I got to cover all the bases. So I think that you're going to have a very nice month astrologically. As for the cards I picked for you, Pisces, the card that I picked to describe you in your totality is the World card. So, again, this major cycle coming to an end, this sense of victory in whatever it is that has come before. And this is a wonderful way to start the reading, that's for sure. The reason for you to be at this stage is the Eight of Cups. So, some of you may have left a job and this was the best decision you ever made because you were not feeling it anymore. The cups are all about the emotions. And of course, they do connect with water signs. So it could have to do with a personal relationship as well. But the World card, even though it's an ending, in its upright position, it is an ending that has been successful. So it's not something negative just because it is an ending. And then the higher message is the Eight of Swords. So here we have another eight. And eight is a very powerful number, actually. It does have to do a lot with material success. With the swords, however, there can be a sense of some kind of oppression or restriction that is self imposed. So, what it may be saying is that even though you've had some victories and maybe you made the right decision and you left a certain situation, maybe you were leaving something rather than going towards something. The Eight of Cups can also be about finding out the meaning of life and going towards that and, being on a spiritual quest of sorts. And of course, you're Pisces and you're going to have a lot of this energy in the 12th house. So there might be that desire to grasp the bigger picture of life and to possibly, I was going to say go on a vision quest. That's a little bit extreme, but just search for answers. And yet you can't just escape. And this is kind of like a Piscean thing to do is I don't like this situation, so I'm going to run away from it. No, you have to go towards something, not run away from something. And so the Eight of Swords is like saying, not so fast. You still have things that you have not dealt with. And this could be career, or this could be in your personal life. Actually, the advice is the Five of Wands, and this is all about competing. And so it could mean that there is a tendency for you, which I know this to be true of a lot of Pisces people, to kind of capitulate. And this card is all about fighting for what's yours. And this is what competition is really about at the end of the day. I personally am like you guys, I'm not in favor of competition. It kind of like makes my skin crawl, to be honest with you. But it's a sense of healthy ego, with the wands being like fire signs, there's that confidence or that feeling of self, understanding the self. And sometimes you have to kind of step into the fray to kind of to really show people what you've got and not just hide from life. And so, like, if we're talking about a romantic relationship, it may mean fighting for the other person. I was going to say fighting for your man. And I don't mean it like that. I really don't. I honestly believe that in a lot of those situations, there's a demeaning quality to it. That, you know, the idea of having to fight for the other person is not acceptable to me. But sometimes the other person tries to keep you down, and part of this card is asserting yourself in a lot of ways, not necessarily defending yourself and not being a wallflower, just sitting back and waiting for something to happen, especially in the realm of relationships. But sometimes you do have rivals. And if it's not in the realm of relationships, if you're not willing to compete with another person to attract the object of your desire, I can totally go along with that. But, you know, on the job front, in your career, sometimes you have to show what you've got. And if you feel a little bit insecure and not sure of what you have, then you might kind of step back, but then you'll get stepped over and looked over, and somebody else will get the promotion, get the job, you know, get the accolades. So sometimes you do have to assert yourself. And again, the area of your life where this card may be applied to is going to be different for each Pisces person. If you'd like a personalized reading where I pull up your natal charts along with the tarot, just click on the link below for a list of my services. The card that crosses you is a Six of Cups. So this is a Cups card, another Cups card, that emotional tug, which relates to the past, can be an impediment for you right now because you do have the world, you do have this ending, which means a new beginning is on the horizon. So don't get stuck in the past. Um, in the upright position, it's more of a positive manifestation of this energy, but still, the bottom line is that since this card is in the challenge position, I do believe that something about the past is keeping you from being able to transition into your new reality. So you just have to watch out for that because I do believe that water signs tend to get stuck in the past a lot of times. Their memories are very vivid and they tend to be very retentive in terms of remembering things that happened. And so this is both good and bad in the sense that, you know, it's great for memorizing facts for a history exam, but not so much when you're trying to start a whole new life and you're thinking about the good old days. The outcome is the King of Pentacles. So I think that for some of you, this reading is going to be more on the career front, and that this is a sign that you're on the right track and you're going to have mastery over your career and over your money matters. And so, again, with this Saturn in the 10th house, this is really an energy of being a master over your career and having a lot of discipline and putting things into action and really making things manifest. And the king is a great money manager and someone who is able to stand in front of the community and show off his stuff. And again, you know, Saturn at the top of the chart, that kind of goes along with that. So, Pisces, I hope you enjoyed this and I wish you a wonderful February. Take care, you guys. Bye.